Truth Seekers, it is Monday, July 19th, 12:54 p.m. here in the Arizona desert. Little update today since the market is crappy, and here's maybe some reasons why, or at least a look at what is. All right, BitcoinDailyView.com got more for you there. Most of what I'm going to talk about is linked to. There's this story, Leak exposes global abuse of cyber spying weapon to target politicians, activists, and journalists. I read it, won't even go into it. I think it's just a big absolute nothing, but basically it is possibly causing waves in the market today, at least to some extent. Edward Snowden kind of said it's a big deal. I think he's a complete fake psyop, nothing. So this could be planned volatility, especially if that Jack Tard is, spewing his opening his neck and spewing garbage. So basically, 60% crash in lumber, housing market, and inflation next. This is something that came from Jordan over at Bitcoin Daily View chat. He's not really there much anymore. It wasn't high enough security for him. And, when you have a past like Jordan, you have to keep yourself anonymous. Anyway, so 60% crash in lumber, housing market, and inflation next. We shall see. I totally agree with this guy. He's got a unique take on the lumber market and housing prices. I think he's absolutely spot on. Things I had not thought of. He does mention that he doesn't see hyperinflation. I think that's where that's the reason. I think he's wrong, and I think if he shaved, he would see things more clearly, and if he went to the gym a little bit and laid off the soy lattes. Anyway, this guy here, a really badass dude. He gets into the Bitcoin to 100K possible, or is this model wrong? He looks at the stock to flow ratio model that many of us have been looking at for quite some time. He really sees it in a very interesting way. First, it's kind of a downer where he kind of steps on it, and then he sort of basically does say that it's possible at the end. So it's kind of a spoiler, but he really breaks it down why not and why. Could it be? So pros and cons. You'll know a lot more about the stock to flow ratio model if you watch this short video, 23 minutes of pure damn wisdom. S&P 500 slump says COVID resurgence rattles the stocks. Well, this is definitely happening for sure. A plethora of macro uncertainty is now in investor crosshairs, including pandemic, varied spread, reflation, inflation, future of CB policy, earnings and geopolitical tensions. Watch the ongoing escalation between U.S. and allies against China. And also new coronavirus cases climbed in all 50 states on Sunday for the fourth day in a row on a rolling 7-day average, a rise not seen since the spring of 2020 surge. So this seems to be the case. They talk about S&P 500 fell 2%. As we can see right now, it's at 1.7%. I believe that's a daily chart. I think. Also, I should say a real-time chart, sorry. Dow Jones, they mentioned down 2.5%. Right now it's down 2.24. So these really are, taking a hit. I know those are small. Like in crypto, you're like, what? That's nothing, right? But, well, with these big players, these indices, yeah, it's a big deal. So, these first reasons that it could be tumbling are conjecture on my part. This story here about the spying. I mean, if it's true, which it probably is, they were spying on influential people, and it makes a real case for the whole deep state idea. Like, are all the people like in government and influential celebrities and things like that, and business leaders, have they all been spied on and then ultimately blackmailed? That's kind of the underlying tone of this. And the issue I have is if you're smart enough to realize that it happens, then this is not really a surprise. So, I mean, maybe this is like a wake up for normies, and that's always possible. So anyway, this story could be part of it. The lumber crash and the house, and that being in basically housing prices being manipulated by a few different factors. One of the big ones was the lumber price. This guy is really spot on. I like it. Like I say, I don't think he's right about hyperinflation. I listened to this and I don't quite get. I think he's just way off on that one personally. But still, the housing manipulation and price manipulation, he's really on. So do your own research, think what you want to think. But I think he's right about the house inflation, the lumber crash, the manipulation there. And I do think that, people were scared into... We had realtors here in Scottsdale, which is kind of a high-rent district. telling people, dude, you've got to sell your house right now because you can get so much for it, and just sell it and then rent a home. And then I'll make my huge commission because I'm a sleazy realtor. And then guess what? You won't be able to buy another house because hyperinflation will keep it away from you. Well, maybe those people got lucky, actually, because if we do see a housing slump now, they can finally get out of their shitty apartment that they got into because the realtors are crap for the most part. So anyway, I'm kind of, belaboring the point, but this is some serious knowledge here. So it's worth watching if you so desire. Link to over at bitcoindailyview.com. Once again, stock to flow model analyzed, pros and cons. Spoiler alert, he thinks it's very possible that will hit 100K. The big indices, you get people on the floor talking about it. Got some pretty prominent people ask questions about why is the market shitty today, and you get a bunch of reasons why. Mostly they're right there at the top. I think all this is pretty much valid. If COVID has reared its head again, then it is not surprising at all that we're seeing a dump. I mean, think of the COVID dump we saw back in 2020. I mean, if we're going to see another one of those, well, that's pretty damn epic. So gird your loins, if you know what I'm saying, and keep some dry powder, because I don't know, we might be looking at quite a dip before you want to start thinking about buying that dip. So anyway, S&P 500. Oh my God, red candle on yesterday, opened with a gap today and a red candle. Whoa, that's serious dump. That's a man-sized dump right there. Dow down, of course, it opened with a gap today. Red candle yesterday, opened with a gap today and a red candle today. Dang, hardcore on the daily charts. Russell 2000 index, which I really think is a very spiffy little index. It shows a small guy. It's this, smaller 2,000 companies, and basically a red candle yesterday and a red candle today, but at least it didn't open with a gap that I can see from here. Gold and silver. Gold, red candle yesterday, red candle today with a nice downwards tail on it. Silver absolutely giving up on itself. Red candle yesterday, red candle today, both pretty darn stout and girthy red candles. All right. DXY, dollar strength index. Notice when the world is falling apart and evil seems to be winning, that the dollar index always goes up in strength. I'm just saying it's a correlation. Like there could be like a global evil to DXY. Like flow index or something like that. Kind of, there could be. Anyway, on a good note, dollar strength is doing well while the world burns. Okay, so looking at Bitcoin trading volume explicitly last 24 hours, it really was under 2 billion or just at 2 billion this morning when I got up, 6 hours ago or something like that, or more like 7 or 8 hours ago. It was just around 2 billion. So it has popped up recently, about almost another billion. That's kind of nice to see. That's real. This is retail, trading volume, but still 1.5 billion on Binance, not even half a billion on Coinbase. Bitfinex, where the longers and the shorters live, had almost half a billion. That's kind of interesting. So you probably saw people making money on their shorts or getting wrecked if they had longs or whatever, or putting in new shorts to chase this down. Anyway, Bitfinex seeing some action where the unique people live who long and short with leverage. They're in ByBit too, really. ByBit's probably 1,000% better exchange. Link to description, link to her at bitcoindailyview.com. I like ByBit. And you know what? ByBit now has spot trading. So it's a nice exchange. If you don't want to leverage, believe me, I understand. And I don't necessarily endorse leverage. I hardly ever use it. But ByBit is a nice exchange. And you can just do regular spot trading on it now. And it's 1,000 times, more high tech than Binance, I would say, for just spot trading. Check it out. Linking over there at bitcoindailyview.com. You'll be glad you did. All right, with that said, not financial advice on entertainment purposes only. I don't know if you'll be glad you did, but I'm just saying, ByBit has got spot trading now. Badass, okay? So, Bitcoin versus USDT. As you can see, for a while here on the 45-minute chart, we've been bouncing off this beautiful support area, and I thought, wow, we're good to go. Of course, this morning, boom, broke through it. But on a good note, if you look at it, we basically just dumped within like 3 minutes. I mean, seriously, bam, we were down we were down, and now we're finding a new sideways support. So that isn't really too awful. I mean, it looking at like gold and silver, especially looking at the market in general. what's going on. I mean, I really can't be too distraught by this. Let's actually look at this a little bit closer. Okay, a little bit closer here. So let's look at the forecast tool. So pretty much, let's say we were hanging out right about here when this happened. Let's say here, and go in the middle of this candle. So all of a sudden, you know, it is decided we're going to dump Bitcoin. What happens? So you get 2% down. And so we're 2% down, you know, in like the last 8 hours. But really, we were 2% down, I mean, within 3 minutes. So, I mean, we dumped 2% and we've pretty much been going sideways from there. And also do note this is a big deal. This could end up being a perfect BART pattern right there, you know, right back where we started. That very well could be the case, but looking at the global, at like the market in general, maybe not. So be cautious. You know, if there wasn't any, if the larger market wasn't dumping, I would kind of expect a BART pattern for this to correct, or maybe we're at a new range. You know, now it might be, you know, a lower range that the whales keep Bitcoin, because right now, honestly, Bitcoin for the last like 60 days has totally been in the whale's hands as far as price action between 30 and 40K. Anyway, boom. This kind of sucks to see. It's a little sad, but then again, I mean, looking at what gold and silver did, look at the big indices. Really, I mean, you could say that looking at where is it at here? I mean, looking at the S&P 500, it's down 1.5 right now. Dow Jones is down 2%, and so really, you know, Bitcoin, it dumped 2%, and now it's going sideways, pretty stout sideways. So I really can't complain. I mean, for, you know, the crypto market is not detached from the traditional market, and it pretty much matched the Dow and the S&P 500. I mean, pretty stout if you ask me. If it continues sideways and builds some volume here, then I'm all about it. Good to go. 30,727 right now. I tell you what, I mean, not financial advice, but I do have a small buy in at 30K, just in case. It'd just be cool to say that I bought it at 30K. Anyway, but it's very small. Ethereum, basically exactly the same thing. It dumped exactly pretty much just like Bitcoin did. We could look a little bit closer here. I'm going to wrap this up. Don't want to make this video very long. Just want to fill people in a little bit. Let's see. Forecast. So let's say we're right about here. And it dumped. We went down about 3%. So, you know, Ethereum dumped about 3%. And then, you know, between 2 and 3% basically. And then it went sideways stoutly and powerfully like Bitcoin is doing. So really, I'm going to be watching on the short time frame here on the 45-minute chart. I'm going to be watching these two because, you know, one thing is the squeeze indicator starting to show some relenting in the downwards pressure. Let's watch the directional index. Let's start turning green. KRI is on the way up. Stochastic RSI is on the way up. Wave chart oscillator by Lazy Bear is showing that we are over sold now and moving up. So that's kind of a good thing. Ethereum. Honestly, the indicators show the exact same thing. So, hey, I mean, if we can stay sideways or begin moving upwards slightly, get back to where we were, especially if we can just shake this, if the crypto market, I mean, if Bitcoin does and the rest of the crypto market will, if we can shake off this volatility in the traditional markets, then that's going to be badass. And that stock to flow ratio that was talked about back here by this dapper fellow definitely will come into play. Maybe we still have a chance for the stock to flow model. Do note this, Bitcoin shorts, they were going down this morning before the dump, and now they've gone down more. That's kind of nice. At least we're not seeing upwards. At least we're seeing short pressure relent a bit on Bitcoin, and that's kind of a nice thing. One of the reasons why I think shorts dropped, is the 4-hour chart really dropped recently since this morning, is because, well, they filled. People made dang crap tons of money and dumped them. Well, anyway, everybody, hope that wasn't too long. I was trying to condense these things the most that I can. Always trying to get better at this, but BitcoinDailyView.com. Got more for you there, as always. And remember, even in times like this of extreme manipulation, you are part of the peaceful revolution. Bitcoin is literally a living consciousness. It is an intelligence. It is part of the ascension of humanity. If you believe in such things, it is smarter than myself. I will humbly say possibly you, definitely smarter than the globalists. It is amazing that it is still here, and I gain faith in it. I really do, because a lot of ancient evil wants to kill it, but they can't. I think it's smart because I think it has its own consciousness, and I think it's a blessing to humanity. And every single Bitcoin, no, every single Bitcoin Satoshi you owns, every Bitcoin Satoshi you own makes a piece of shit evil. Globalist piece of shit, banker, whatever, cry. And that's a beautiful thing. So enjoy the reptile tears. Count them, every single one of your little stats, and just know that evil is suffering from them. Take care.